down in New York City. I'm up here visiting my partner. I've known Patrick for a while. We've done workshops together before in the past. So yeah, like you said, we're going to go around. If you can give us your name and why you decided to come to this workshop, and just if you have one question about anarchism or anarchists, you could shout that out now, and that could help us frame the discussion that we'll have after the mini lecture, which should only be about 20 minutes or so.
I'm Ian. I'm a student, a veteran, and I'm just seeing what this is all about.
I'm Tristan. I'm a student, and I'm just checking it out.
Well, where do you go to school?
The Center for Digital Imaging Arts at BU.
I'm just going to videotape, if that's okay.
He's a videotaper.
Hey, I'm Dennis. I used to be a professor in Illinois. I did a class yesterday on anarchism, psychology, and law, which I'd like to do again at some point, and I'm here I'm curious to see how different people talk about anarchism and how it relates to what we're doing here in Occupy Boston.
I'm Sean.
Can you speak up a bit?
I'm Sean. I'm a student at BU. I guess I'm here just to experience the anarchist presence more, see what everyone has to offer, their ideas.
I'm Isaac. I'm a student down at Mass Lowell. Yeah, just taking ideas and what you guys have to say.
Just to let you guys know, one of you guys can move there. There's like a seat, just like so you're not outside of the circle.
There's also a space back where people are interested.
Yeah, people can sit in there.
Yeah, my turn.
Oh wait, is there somebody about the YouTube back there?
I'm Alex.
I'm in here?
Yeah, I basically came here to support the cause.
Cool.
Hi, I'm PC. I'm from MIT. I take photos for the school.
For what?
I take photos for the school yearbook.
Oh, great.
Okay, I'm Jeff, high school dropout, not even old enough to be in college.
I'm Jed. I'm a teacher and an anarchist.
I'm Ilya. I'm an occupier in Boston, and I just
my name is Tom. I live in Rhode Island, and I'm up here in Solidarity, and check this out. And I also consider myself an anarchist, so I'm out.
I'm Kian. I'm just here to get as many viewpoints as I can into all the ideologies.
Books behind us.
My name is Chantal. I'm from Rhode Island, and I'm also an anarchist.
I'm Rodrigo. I'm from Chicago, and I happen to be in Boston to support.
Claudio from Minneapolis, also here in Solidarity. Just checking it out.
I'm Amber. I'm a student in New York City, and I've been at Occupy Wall Street for the last 3 weeks. I wanted to check this out.
Wow. That's great.
I'm Brian. I live in Boston. My question would be, why aren't there more anarchists?
I'm Amber. I'm an artist and get to join the conversation. Yes.
My name is Patrick. I'm a graphic designer and part-time student organizer here in Boston. Born and raised in the great state of Pennsylvania. Lived in DC for a while. And yeah, I've been an anarchist for quite a few years now. Actually, I realized I was an anarchist right in the middle of running for office, which put me in a bit of a situation. I was running for state rep on the Green Party platform. The Green Party is, I think, for a lot of people, the sort of the last train stop on the way to anarchism. Sort of like religion and atheism. Oftentimes, Unitarian is sort of like the last. No offense to any Unitarians. Yeah, and it was simply this is the logical ending point. Though I don't consider it an end point. The next destination in terms of how I was developing politically, the things I had seen on the streets, the way
society around me and the institutions I had been in seemed to be organized in the ways people were trying to resist and change. So let's go to our official agenda. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Let's see, we're going to go over, first off, we're going to cover very quickly the anarchist critique of capitalism. So the society we see in front of us today, the society whose shadow we are sitting in right now, very literally. Tristan is going to then cover the anarchist critique of state socialism, so which is traditionally, especially according to the mainstream media, the sort of pillars of popular opinion, that seems to be the only possible alternative to capitalism. Obviously, as anarchists, we tend to differ on that. Then I'm going to talk about some of the motivating values behind anarchism. It isn't simply an ideology that says we're against X, we're against Y. There's also a very concrete vision stemming from these values about what a better society would look like. Then we'll move into essentially examples of anarchism. So what do anarchists do? How do they organize? How do they change societies? How do they build new ones? And then Tristan will cover something very germane to where we are right now. He's going to talk about occupations, because this is the Occupy Wall Street is far from the first. Hopefully it won't be the last. There's a wonderful history that anarchists have always played a part in, because it speaks to a lot of the values that I think we hold dear. And a lot of the most inspiring anarchist actions are anarchists in spirit, though not in name. And for anarchists, that really doesn't matter at the end. It matters what gets done. And then Tristan is going to talk about one thing that I think a lot of folks, even anarchists, don't really consider, don't really get exposed to, and that's what traditional and indigenous societies look like. Because oftentimes they'll embody a lot of these anarchist values we're talking about, and they provide really crucial examples of what an anarchist society could look like in practice. That is as far removed from the institutions of capitalism and domination that surround us right now. So let's get started. Capitalism. Can anybody give me a quick summary of what they think would be a good way of defining what capitalism is? Since it seems to be in crisis at the moment.
I don't think you can define it, because the term capitalism can mean like such a broad spectrum of ideas. Anything from corporate capitalism, which is basically what the United States is right now, to barter, and like barter and trade between societies and within tribes has existed for a really long time. So I would be really careful defining it, because it can mean, I think, so many different things and possibly contradictory things.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a huge word. In terms of how best to describe the system we're in, what do folks think? I mean, are there defining features?
Pursuit of profit.
Pursuit of profit. Absolutely. Private ownership. Specifically of land, exactly.
It's all about power to market. Essentially, the market's going to solve everything. So,
as an ideology, it's pro-market,
so it's all about individuals and acting in that market and making a profit off of everything you sell. So you take one thing and then you keep adding profit to it somehow, and you sell it and you make more money. That's essentially it.
And profit is the number one concern of anything that you're doing.
If you can't measure it, it's
right, exactly. And whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, the amount of money that it's going to make being the number one concern above any other ethical, moral, or even rational concerns.
Yeah. Basically, the idea that the world can be owned, also known euphemism as commodification.
Commodification, absolutely, yeah. Anything that can't be owned is.
Including ideas, that's important to put out.
Yeah.
Intellectual property.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, and as a result, this ideology creates enormous inequalities of wealth. Even at times of prosperity, you see. I mean, we've all seen, the graphs that are online. We've seen it in basic textbooks. As even in times of good as well as bad, the inequality of wealth always accelerates. It's simply a question of how much and under what circumstances. And crucially, the times when those two items on the chart actually get a bit closer, when you get close to actual equality, have only been the result of people acting outside of capitalism, people acting either in a non-capitalist way or in an explicitly anti-capitalist way. For example, the labor movement, the push for the 8-hour day, the push for the 5-day work week, the push against child labor. These were all done by people not who wanted to very explicitly sort of narrow this gap. They were simply fighting for their lives. They were fighting for the lives of their kids and their families and their neighborhoods and their workplaces. If you look at modern right-wing, especially right-wing libertarian thinkers today, they often justify capitalism, the private ownership of factories, of businesses, the virtual slavery that we all find ourselves in these days. They couch them in terms of the founding fathers, of the sort of the 17th, 18th century Enlightenment. That we're all free individuals. The government is bad because it infringes on that right. However, there was no Henry Ford in 1789. There were no huge giant corporations, and tellingly, in 1776, the one corporation that mattered, the East India Company, was explicitly the one we were revolting against in the first place. That was the origins of the original Tea Party, not the one we saw a few years ago. So when the founding fathers and mothers, started this country, they were coming from an idea that the individual is primary. The idea that we should all have a say over our material lives, over our productive lives, over our social and political lives. That outside forces that were not accountable to us, that we didn't have any say in, were illegitimate, and we should dismantle them. We should replace them with things that are better. Now, in that time period, in the 18th and early 19th centuries, this was an agrarian economy. So people weren't working in factories; they were working on mostly their own farms. If you were unlucky enough to be a slave, you were working on someone else's farm, and we fought a bloody civil war to get past that. However, the practice of owning people, as it formally ended in the 1860s, it did not stop the renting of people, which is essentially what we have today as wage labor. So we have to rent ourselves out to the highest bidder. If we're lucky enough, we get a bidder, especially with 9-point-something% unemployment. And that the boss has an entire say over what we do, when we do it, and while we're at work. This is an entirely alien idea, an entirely alien way of arranging the economy than the people in the Enlightenment, the people in early America could ever conceive of. And so I think, far from it being a given, we should actually be looking at ways of changing it. The anarchist idea is that people who work in the factories, they work in the mills, they work in the office buildings, they should own the places they work at. It shouldn't simply be a matter of renting. It should be a matter that the only way to really be true to yourself, to be able to have control over your life, is to have control over your productive life. And thankfully, there have been tons of examples throughout history and even today of businesses, of workplaces, of entire industries organized where the people working in it have a direct democratic say over not only what they do day to day, but the larger decisions of the firms. These businesses and organizations tend to be incredibly successful, and for reasons which we can go into later, even still have really the deck of cards stacked against them in terms of actually succeeding amidst this corporate capitalism, which sees it as a direct threat. The inequality of wealth, private ownership of, what the theory folks say is the means of production, so the way society creates wealth. And the hierarchy of the workplace are three sort of key critiques of capitalism that anarchism sees. Not only are we opposed to it, but we also see, and we'll definitely talk about, many examples of people thriving without any of it. So it is possible. So Tristan, do you want to Tristan's going to talk about the traditional alternative to capitalism, which is state socialism.
All right. And just for the new people who have come by, this is a workshop on contemporary anarchism, libertarian socialism. My name's Tristan. This is Patrick. We just went over the anarchist critique of capitalism, and now we're moving into a critique of state socialism. And after we talk for probably about 10 more minutes or so, we're going to have an open discussion. We're starting to burst into the sidewalk here, so we'll probably move the discussion somewhere else once we're done with our mini lecture here.